Okay, it is time for I've got a ripper this week. But first, I found the 45. This was my favorite song in the sixth grade. Philip Bailey's Easy Lover. I normally don't like Phil Collins, and it's because he wrote this. Philip Bailey was one of the original members of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So that's why this song
It's got some
is
funk.
it's a hell of a lot better than that fucking, Susu Studio bullshit. So how does it go? Well, she'll say that there's no other till she finds another. Better forget it. Oh, you'll regret it. Anyway, great song. But this is not, sadly, what we're going to feature on Wax of
Not
Contrition
this
this
show.
week. Instead, I have opted for Unleashed's crushing 2008 vinyl Hammer Battalion. Why don't you go ahead?
The late 2000s were a time of explosive progression in the world of extreme metal. At times, it seemed things were just becoming more technical, more progressive, and in some ways, just plain weirder every day. From the epic Mastodon releases to the symphonic quirks of Psy to the prog heavy era of Opeth, it seemed like metal was constantly evolving in every sense of the word. But looking back, there was also quite a bit of quality, straight ahead, Swedish death metal released in the noughts. Dismember, Amon Amarth, Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
One sadly overlooked moniker that really caught fire around this time was the long running Stockholm four piece Unleashed. Not sure if it was the label change to SPV or just the lineup gelling at the right time, but the string of albums starting with 2006's Mein Winterblot through the end of the decade were exceptional, with stunning, in your face riffing and gorgeous lyrical solos from guitarist Frederick Folkler. Perhaps the crown jewel of the stellar phase for Unleashed falls to the 2008 album, Hammer Battalions.
Yeah, things are tight and crunchy, full of lyrical odes to Vikings and copious swirls of black metal in the mix. The very first track is the Deflesh style speedball, Greatest of All Lies. It just tears out of the gates with dizzying aggression. Let's get this rolling and check that song out. This is Greatest of All Lies. Okay, continuing on with Unleashed, the album is just about perfect. Not just the 100 miles an hour stuff either. Lyrically, carved in stone is an almost introspective plea to Thor that the deeds of deceased heroes are not forgotten. Headland's vocals are crystal clear and full of witchy sneer. The guitar harmonies that stutter step across the verses are cool as fuck, and the guitar solo is beautiful enough to conjure chill bumps. Total Thin Lizzy style lead construction at work. The riffing in this period is so much stronger than their early records, from crunchtastic fare like Your Children Will Burn and Entering the Hall of the Slain to blackened heavy metal like Midsummer Solstice. This record truly is thrill a minute, but the song I want to focus on that really seems to sum up the record is Marching Off to War, and no, it's not the Motorhead song. This one has it all: exciting tempo changes, black metal overtones, wild blast beats, and hands down the best guitar solo on the record. Sure, it's a formula that had been used a million times before, but only a handful of releases mastered the craft as well as Unleashed on this record. Grab your wench, raise a tankard, and let Hammer Battalion blast to the grand halls. This is Marching Off to War.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.